Welcome to the Bearded Bro Show podcast. Holy fuck. Does
That's
it
been a while.
feel good to say that? Yeah.
That's been a while.
Yeah. And we're not on Twitch, you two
No.
people. We're back. And we're gonna stick with you because I Trav and I, so to make it clear, Trav and I have talked about doing this. And our lives have changed. Pretty
Dramatically.
drastically for the both of us. I think one of the last times that we did a podcast on YouTube, I had mentioned my wife was pregnant, and then we had a miscarriage. I don't even know if we ever got to the point of us having a miscarriage. I honestly I don't remember. Um,
I think we might have talked about that on Twitch. I think
was it on Twitch or
maybe.
on YouTube? I think I announced the pregnancy on YouTube, and then we moved to Twitch after.
Right.
But anyways, we had a miscarriage last year, and now my wife is 34 weeks pregnant. So we're having a little boy, and I'm excited. And then Trav, go ahead and if you feel comfortable talking about what happened with you and kind of where we're at here.
Um. um. I'm unemployed. No, but I'm basically like just the place that I kept talking about. Way back in the day, and we would always like anytime me and Dustin worked somewhere, we would just kind of like be discreet on the name of the place.
Yeah.
So I guess so since I say who they were, but I worked for Wally World, and they suck. Nah, honestly, overall, I feel like Walmart is a decent company to work at. I really do feel like that. Like, I just think, a lot of people have opinions on, like, after Sam Walton passed away, everything changed. Like, he was supposedly this really great man, and I never knew the guy, obviously, but, like, the long story short, um, yeah, it didn't work out. That's basically the quickest way to sum it
It
up. Um,
and believe me when I tell you, it came as a shock
yeah,
to me because like I was on my way to a wedding. It was like after work. Trav's like, "Yo, I got fired." I'm like, immediately I call. I'm like, "What?"
yeah. Um, it. But the thing is about that is, I had been wanting to quit for a long time. Um, and Dustin knows what that's like working in retail in the past. I mean, I guess you. I don't know if you count what you do now as. I guess that is kind of what it is. I don't know the
Yeah.
categories of retail, like what is like that versus that, but
I
um
usually just tell people I'm in the tech space. I guess that
right,
kind of makes more sense. But it's like retail, but like a techie side of retail.
yeah,
Um,
um
I don't know.
but basically like it was definitely a long time coming.
Yeah.
I was, and this, I don't know, people are gonna think, I don't care what people think because they don't know the full story, but when I say like accused of something, that makes it sound like I did something really bad. But no, and anybody that knows me knows like I don't go out of my way to get in trouble. Like I try to work hard, and it just like whatever, like they were looking for reasons to let me go. Like that's the best way to sum it up, for them to go out of their way and be like, you didn't take the trash, and like check cameras from like 5 days ago. I'm just like, okay, y'all are looking for where did he work, let's get rid of him. At the time that they don't need to be letting people go, we were so lacking on like people. We always just one or two people a night or whatever. But anyway, um but honestly, I'm taking it as an opportunity. I'm learning different things. My sister has shown me how to DoorDash. That's been really fun because that's a totally different world for me. But I've been going out by myself, doing it, and making decent income. So I mean, I'm kind of like I'm doing okay. Um, and it opens a lot of doors because suddenly it's like, oh, I have all this time now. But I'm still constantly busy because I'm like, okay, like, what's the next thing? How do I make money? Like, I'm just like obsessing over making money right now. So, and I think that's what you have to do, and like, you can't just go die in a ditch, like, just because you got fired from someplace. Like,
Right.
I think it was time. Like Ashley had been telling me for a while, yeah, it's time that you get out of there, and I just kept like going with the flow. And and after leaving a place like that, and even though it's a sucky situation to get fired from somewhere, like
It's like a breath of fresh air.
it's truly like the
Yeah.
chains are off, and like just like obviously because I'm unemployed, like I'm getting more sleep and stuff like that. I'm just saying like you feel the body like shift to like, oh, this is like what I needed.
Yeah.
And I know Dustin dealt with that. I don't know if you want to name drop the company, but you
Nike.
had
Yeah, absolutely.
you had that happen. You had that happen, and
Yeah.
it's just like, and that's I'm kind of telling the long. There's a much longer version of the story, but I'm not. It's whatever. Um, but I'm not even like I told Ashley the other day, and I kind of actually got emotional talking about it because I was like, it was time, but also like I'm not even mad. Like if I saw anybody in there or anything that was a part of that, I would still treat them just like whatever. Like because it's like I'm just saying like I'm not mad. If anything, they did me a favor. That's how I
Right.
feel about it. And that's
Well,
sometimes you have to look at life like that. You can't just be like, "Oh, whatever," and like,
you can't
you
resent
know.
them for it,
Right. I mean,
because
and
at the end of the day, they were doing their job
right.
in some way, shape, or form. And I feel like it's important to kind of like take a step back in a moment like that and look and say like they're humans too. You know what I mean? And like yes, it was uncomfortable for you, but it was also uncomfortable for them because
Yeah,
it's not
my,
something
my,
they
my
want to
team
do.
lead was in there. She was coming back from like 2 days off, and she didn't know what was going to happen, and they called her into the office because I had to unfortunately go back to see her the same day because they gave me 24 hours to turn in my work phone, and I was just like, why do I got to go back here? But I saw her by herself, and she just kind of she didn't say sorry or anything like that. I'm glad that she wasn't trying to apologize or anything because she just was like, I can't believe like they pulled me in there to do that or whatever. Like I know that she was trying to sympathize, but also like I could tell like she was very hurt that she had to do that. Like very, very hurt. I mean, I could tell whenever they told me, she just the look in her eyes was just like, okay, man, I'm gonna just was like, well, here's my vest, here's my hat, goodbye. But I didn't have my work phone, so they made me come back, and I gave it to her, and I had forgot like my little badge holder thing that's actually mine. Like we bought it, and she had it in her pocket. And she's like, "Yeah, I was hoping to see you again. Hopefully that wasn't like the last time or whatever." And it was just awkward because it was still it was literally had been like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Um, but it just like it definitely is like a freeing feeling
Yeah, for sure.
of
It,
like
it
just
really
I don't gotta deal with this place anymore. Like, and it's like, but the thing is like I felt like after that I should have been the one to do this. I still regret not, but at the same time, that's not who I am. Like, I'm not a quitter. I'm just that
right.
type of person. Like, obviously, I was already in a bad like my mental health with that place, and the more dread every week. Just like it's outside of like working retail in general. It's more of just like I have such big dreams for my life, you know, and like I don't want to work like slave away 5 days a week somewhere for the man or whatever you want to call it, like till I'm like 90 years old. I don't want to do it. Like
Right.
I'm just too big of a dreamer for that. But I did that to myself because I knew like, you need to find something better, Trev. You need to find something better, and I just kept going with it. And whatever, it's fine, and I learned from it. Um, but now is like an opportunity for me. It's like actually focus on what you want to do. And for years, and like ever since I was a kid, I remember, when you're in school and at some point they make you like fill out some paper or something. They're just like, what do you want to do? Maybe even in elementary school, what do you want to do? What do you want to do for the rest of your life or something? And just like, and I'm always the kid that was like, I have no idea. And I haven't gone to college or anything like that. I mean, that's obviously an option, but um, but there's just bigger things in life and more ways to make passive income today, I think, than there's ever been. Like,
Absolutely.
I feel like we are in a time where like there is so many ways to make money. Um, and like you don't. I'm just this is inspiration for people. You don't have to be tied down to that job. That job that you have that you just absolutely hate. Like it's not for you. Like it just like you say that it is, but it's not. Like if you're unhappy. Like I understand you gotta pay bills. Some people have a bigger situation than me. They got kids. They got a house full of them, and it's different because they literally are responsible for their lives and stuff. But anyway, I ranted, but I just wanted to pass along that message. Like you don't have to like feel tied down to slavery. like
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I'll talk about it because this was years ago at this point. Almost, oh God, Trista and I have been together for 4 years, married for two. Um, I was working at Nike when we got engaged. So, like, I mean, it's been that long. And, for me, it was like a situation where it got to a point where it just was a toxic work environment. Like I worked with a bunch, and I'm not knocking the people that I worked with because like a lot of them were great people, and a lot of people that I can message. Like I mean, my buddy Vinny, the day that Trav got fired, I was on my way to his wedding. That is somebody that I met at Nike. Matthew, Steel City Sun. In May, I was at his wedding. He's somebody that I met at Nike. So like, I'm not knocking the people that I work with, but I worked with a lot of college kids, and like, it just kind of was. I was at a point in my life, where like I couldn't like that. All they talked about was drinking and smoking and like doing all this stuff and like partying, and I just wasn't like at that that level
mm-hmm.
in life because like I was settling down and I that shit was beyond me anyway. Like I would have never hung out with those people outside of work regardless. Um, but I
I mean,
think management
I met
plays a big
Thomas
part.
through Walmart, so
Yeah,
he's one of my best
yeah,
friends.
yeah.
So
I think management plays a big part in it, and that was my situation at Nike. Was the management was terrible. There were two managers, three managers there technically. Um, Neither of which work there anymore, by the way. Like they all left. I had a manager, David, great guy, great guy. One of the nicest for a man that had like nobody in his family other than his son and daughter, and now his grandson, and who lived alone and divorced twice. Like that man was one of the nicest people that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. There was another manager, Matt Hearn, great guy, awesome. And then I worked with a female manager, Rachel, who Trista and I, have seen out in public, and I can still talk to those people. But for me, it got to a point where like the management was toxic, and they were trying to put me in situations that I wasn't comfortable with, and I told them I wasn't comfortable with it. And there was always that place like, well, if there's something that you can't do or you're uncomfortable with it, just speak up and say something. And I did, and they didn't like it. And it was kind of like you. They wanted a reason to fire me, and they called me into the office one day because they wanted me to work the cash register. And I was like, listen, I have terrible anxiety. You never taught me how to run the cash register.
Amen.
You can't just throw me on there. Like you can't
you
just train me in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, or not even 2 hours, it was like an hour. And I was like, I'm not comfortable with it. Like I'm better at what I do back with the shoes. And they pulled me into the office and they're like, look, you can either leave now or you can wait to be fired. And I said, bye.
The way that they were just so like they literally that was planned. Like no, like we're and maybe that was actually, now that you kind of flesh out that story a little more to me, like that actually might have been the reason they were doing that. Like, okay, let's put him on something that he's uncomfortable with so that he is forced to whatever, backing someone in a corner so that they can bounce. And management with the same situation. Now, like with Walmart, I had an old coworker, and she was at the time anyway. I don't know if they're still together or whatever, but but when Walmart had supervisors instead of team leads, um, she was my supervisor's girlfriend, yeah. And now she works at the other Walmart. Like, she left at some point. I remember her making a Facebook post about it, and now I, like, feel this post a little bit. Like, she's like, this is the last time. She had a picture of the clock out thing or whatever. Like, this is the last time I'm clocking out from Walmart. This is just not for me anymore. And, like, the way she worded that was amazing. But I think she went to work somewhere else, and then she just kind of went back to Walmart, but not this Walmart. I texted her not long ago, on Messenger, and I was just like, "Hey, this was before I got fired, and I haven't even updated her and told her that I have now. Like, she'd probably be like, I don't know, because I've been shopping at that Walmart because I don't want to go to mine. Like, it's closer, but whatever. But I thought I would just see her there and then just tell her. But I straight up asked her. I was like, okay, so I know that there's a couple managers that used to be at our Walmart, like, that are now managers of yours, but let me just ask you, is management that much better? Because I was just thinking, like, because before I got fired, I was genuinely so unhappy that I was considering transferring. Like, yeah. I just had this, like, well, what if, like, what if it's just better? But she pretty much said, like, look, like, that's pretty much how they all are. Just some Walmarts are better than others, but not, like, by a lot. Like, just, like Sam Walton has a quote, and I remember reading it 100 times. I've probably even brought it up on the podcast before. And it's, like, on the wall when you're exiting the back hallway where only employees can be. And it said, we take care of our associates so that they can take care of our customers. And I would read that all the time and just thinking, it's a lie. It's, Sam Walton said it because he believed in it, but they are genuinely against his word on what he stood for. Because, now, were they all bad? No. Really, there's really great people at Walmart, and some of them, some are older people that have been there like 20, 30, 40 years, whatever. I honestly feel for people that are still there. Like, anybody that's still there, I'm just like y'all deserve better. You just do. Because there's really good people there. But some people have gotten good at their job, and they've settled into just what that is, and they just, I get how some people do just want, like, a routine income, like, and I did too, and that's why I did it for so long. It was almost 5 years, which I still am mad about. Like, if only I could have just hit the 5 years, it just would have felt nice to put down. But anyway, but I asked her about that before I got fired, was like, hey, are all Walmarts like this? And she's just like, I mean, they're pretty much all bad, but, some are just a little bit more laid back than others. But let me tell you this, like, when I started with that place 4.5 years ago, it was not like that. Like, it used to be so much more laid back, and I'm not saying that places can't, like, extend, like, what's the word? Raise, whatever, standards. It's fine. Like, I get it. It's a business. You gotta work it like a business, but, like, I mean, it became, and it still is probably, numbers. It was about what did they not get done, not what we did get done. And there was some appreciation here and there for what we did do. I'm not going to pretend like I was never thanked or never appreciated, but, I mean, the negative outweighed it. Like, and that's not just my mind. That's like, I watched that place go from, and even when Thomas, when he left, he was saying back then, because that's been like 2, maybe 3 years ago. I'm trying to remember when he started where he works now. But, I told him after I got fired, bro, that place was literally like all about numbers going just so downhill. And he was like, after it was already going downhill, like his perspective on that place when he left was that it was already in the gutter. And the fact that it did get worse is like crazy. And I don't know, but, it's like, this is the Trav vents about his losing his job podcast, and it's like not meaning to, but
Oh, we
yeah, I
got
mean,
some other stuff
obviously,
we can
it
bring
feels
up.
good to talk about it. Do what?
I got some other stuff we can bring up.
Go ahead.
Care package 2.0.
Hey, I mean, honestly, I'm almost glad then that I haven't sent it, so we could make this a joke because now the podcast is back, and now we can like just like okay, you know. So
I will pay.
a,
I will
ye-
pay
a
for, I will
year,
pay you people right
I'll
now.
wait specifically a year into the podcast being back and consistent, and then I'll send you 2.0.
I'd be so sad.
No. But it's just
You
been.
planned on it and things happened.
Well, let's tell them the story though, because like let's tell them about like okay, so just to remind people about the old care package, I took forever to send it, and like it kept being a joke in the comments and stuff. And shout out to Oro because the fact that Oro pointed it out recently, like oh you'll get Trav's care package in 2 years or something like that. But like, let's tell them the story about like how I kept adding to it, this new one.
So yeah, okay. So we'll talk about the OG care package for those of you that don't know. So like, Trav and I have known each other for
freakish amount of
years on YouTube. Like, yeah. I mean, long before DUSTIN'S MC. Like this is back when Zoe was trying stuff on Trav's channel. I remember that, and. It like Trav and I were talking, and Trav was like, "Have you ever tried Mountain Dew Black Label?" And I was like, "No," and I can't find it, and I never did. And then they come out with like White Label and something else.
I'm so
Trav's
sad
like,
they discontinued Black Label. Man, it was good.
And Trav was like, "I'm gonna get it and send it to you." And I was like, "All right, yeah." And then like we talk about snacks. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna throw it in your care package." And I mean, this has gone on for years, right? And then we do the podcast, and then like from the beginning of the podcast for like the first year of it. Every time we'd record, like there was just Trav never sent this box, and one day it just showed up. And the best part about it showing up is there was no Mountain Dew in it.
Nope. Because that was like old news at the time, and honestly, I think they had discontinued it at the time. Actually,
probably
it's funny.
Probably,
But I was just like, well, this is a care package, and I remember your video, and you opened it, you're like, he actually sent a real care package. Like, it had so much stuff in it. Yeah. There's so much stuff in it.
So, this new one,
now Dustin's a big movie fan, so I was trying to hook him up on a bunch of stuff.
I always have been.
Well, yeah, but you became a collector semi-recently, you know, like, actually taking it seriously.
Like a year ago, yeah. And I don't have good stores around me that sell like, you know, like used Blu-rays. Like if I want to go do something like that, I have to travel pretty far.
We do.
Yeah, but Trav does, like right where he lives. And he was like, "Hey man, is there like anything specific?" And I like sent him a list, and he like FaceTimed me, and I was like, The Hangover movies.
Yeah, I was like first person showing him the shelves, like what you know.
And then it turned into like the Dark Knight trilogy on 4K, but I don't even think that even became anything. We talked about it.
It's not in there.
Yeah, which is more than okay. And then it was like a poster got involved in this thing. And I don't even know like how if they like their posters are rolled or what, but
I called him when we were there one time because I was considering going back for it, and I was like, yeah, because I think because they're on the wall and that's what you get. It's like you get that one. So we were just like, I asked him, do you like? I told Dustin, I genuinely was like, if you want the poster, tell me to send the poster, and he was just like, dude, it's really not a big deal. I think because you were honestly more worried about the movies, but then. I think you had found like, or you can get it anyway. Like,
yeah, it's on
but
Amazon.
I didn't really. But it's just to tell people what it is. Like, it's like one of the classic Dawn of the Dead posters, and they have like, because online, I think that was the red version, red font version, and online they have like a green one that's really nice. But it's, I don't know, but. Those, just like they sell all these really cool vintage posters. They have like Boba Fett like riding the Rancor and all that from the show. But a lot of them are just like classic posters. By the way, okay, there it is. Well, there it is. By the way, I looked up our last actual video on the YouTube channel, which I'm getting reminded of the channel art with the freaking the old mustache channel art. That's actually still pretty cool. But the last one we did was that freaking reaction to the Batman trailer.
Oh my god.
That's mind-blowing. And it's got 236 views. That hit the algorithm for our standards.
Yeah. Yeah. So the whole movie thing. And then we got on the subject of the Fast and Furious movies.
Because me and Ashley pointed out, because I was just going for Fast 9, because we wanted to watch it before the new one. And then Ashley saw the sets over there, and she's like, this is literally like the same price. I forgot how much it was, but it was like
$15.
It was literally, yeah, like literally all of them for around that, and all the way like 1 to 9. And so I saw, it was funny because we were trying to decide on the slip covers. There's one with like a tire that's just like kind of dumb, and I straight up asked Dustin, I was like, do you want the tire one? Because there's just like the slightest corner rip or whatever that Ashley was like, no, get this one because like it's got the corner rip, and then the one we have is just Dom looking brooding. But I asked Dustin, and he was down for it. But yeah, but that was like the last. That was like the last thing, I think, unless I've thrown something in there that I can't remember that I'm surprising him with. But
I don't know. You said something about the Guardians of the Galaxy movies too, and I was like, don't you dare. But who knows?
But yeah, it's gonna be a who knows. Who knows? It's gonna be. I probably won't even remember what's in there.
You will when my son, who's not born yet, is 4 years old, and I open the care package on a YouTube video.
True. It's like, yeah, my son turned 4 today. Now I'm opening. Like, I specifically send it where it's on his birthday, which, by the way, is supposed to be my birthday, but he's probably coming earlier. Like, I told Dustin one time, because I just in casual conversation talking about the kid and stuff coming, I was like, what's the due date? He was like, oh, like, just like so up in the air, like, oh, August 4th. Like, August 4th? Yeah. It's my birthday. Like, and I'm not crapping on Dustin for forgetting what my birthday was. Like, I only remember what yours is because it's recorded in a podcast. You turned 27 on October 27th that one time. So
yeah,
and that's already been a while. But
yeah, I mean that's.
Aren't you? Wait a second. Are you 30 yet, or are you turning 30?
I'm turning 31, dog.
Oh man. I almost thought, because I was thinking, there's no way he's 29.
No, I'm 30.
But, yeah, 31 in August for me. Jeez. Anyway, I only remember that because it's just when you edit podcasts and stuff just gets etched in your brain. And that was actually a really interesting way to remember it. It was like you had turned 27 on October 27th. And I remember it because it's just a few days from Ashley's. Ashley's is August 30th. Not August. October 30th. I think I might have said August earlier. But anyway. But I didn't crap on him for forgetting my birthday, but I was like, dude, that's my birthday. That would be insane if he shared my birthday. Because, like, what are the odds?
Yeah, I know. It was
I did not mean to click on a video. But, yeah, it was just what are the odds that, like, one of your best friend's birthday. And, like, but, you know what? I've been telling Dustin, like, because he kind of sent me something the other day, a snap or something with Trista. I guess y'all were, whatever it was y'all were doing. But y'all had like a, what if he's coming like soon or today or whatever.
Oh, yeah. So.
And all I sent to Dustin back was traitor.
Traitor.
Because if the kid just pops out right now, it's like, that's way before my birthday, bro.
Yeah.
And Trista said, like, I'm going to try to keep him in there. And I'm just like, don't, just... If he comes out, he comes out. Like, do your thing.
So my wife has history with a thing called preeclampsia, which it can kill her, to be honest with you, and it's a pretty terrifying thing. But they know about it, so like it's more manageable now, or like they can treat her rather for it. Um, so yeah, last Friday, we had a bit of a scare, um, because she was 34 weeks pregnant, which means like our baby, his name's Grayson. He's already over 5 pounds, which if you don't know is
Jeez.
is a very healthy baby weight. Meaning like Grayson could literally come out at any point in time and be okay. Like it wouldn't be, he wouldn't have the issues for coming early because of his
Can you
weight and
imagine if she
everything.
was right now, like, my water broke, and then, like, literally, wait, in the
So
podcast? That'd be amazing,
that'd be
actually.
crazy. I would be concerned if her water broke because she can't
Right.
have birth naturally. She has to have C-sections. But yeah, so like he wasn't moving on Friday. I was at work by myself. My manager was gone, and she called me and was like, "We need to go to the hospital." And like because of having that miscarriage in the past, like my mind immediately
Right.
it's like I got tunnel vision. I'm like, "Oh shit."
It's like
You know what I mean?
PTSD.
Yeah. I mean like that was the miscarriage was hard enough, and I mean she was only like 8 weeks I think in.
It's very
This baby's
early.
been, like our son now, like he's been in there for 8 months. Like he's a fully grown child, like, and he just wasn't moving. Turns out he was just being an asshole. He was just very, very tired. And he's okay. He's perfectly okay. But because of Trista's history with preeclampsia, they could be taking him in literally like 3 weeks or less, which is crazy because like it started out that he was due August 4th, and then it was July 28th, which is 2 days after my wife's birthday is July 26th. So
That'd be
he was
crazy.
coming 2 days after her birthday. And then it was like, well, he could be coming, I think, the 21st. And then the 21st made it all the way back to the 14th. Which, by the way, is very difficult considering. So my job now, there's only me and one other person that works there, my manager. Um, you know how hard it is to coordinate like a schedule because I don't like my son could literally be born tomorrow. Like the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hospital could call and say like you need to come in now.
I think
You have to
and I
give birth
think with
now.
your job, like they're like you've explained situations even without an excuse where you're just not feeling it or whatever. Your boss is really cool about everything, so I
Yeah.
feel like you're set to go if it happened at work.
So on Friday when she told me this, right? Like I still had a half hour before I closed, and my boss was in like West Virginia, in the hills, in the mountains of West Virginia, no service. I called him, didn't get an answer. I had no idea where he was. I'm like, oh, this is great. I had to call his boss and like tell him what was going on. And I was like, look, can I close the store down? And he was like, yeah, like do what you got to do, like get to the hospital. But he was fine. Trista was fine. And we were there for probably like 2.5 hours, which wasn't bad. And we come home and everything's been pretty chill since. But it's just crazy, man. Like, and I was kind of thinking about this, and it's kind of off topic, but not at the same time. Like how weird it is thinking about bringing babies into this world, right? Because it's like if I already didn't have two kids and this was our first and like no experience prior, it's just kind of crazy that like you birth this human and then you just kind of got to figure out how to keep it alive for 18 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's such as like a surreal thought
I
that
tell
like
you, man, like
literally.
women are aliens because the fact that like, the fact that they could just grow human beings in them is
I
really when
know.
you think about it too hard, it kind of freaks you out a little bit. It's like
Yeah.
that is literally like a human being that's gonna grow up to like be like us, like at some
Yeah.
point in time, like, and he's already, like you said, he's already 5 pounds, like,
He's already over five
daggum.
pounds. Like his eyes are open. He can like breathe on his own. Like we
Like
have an
just
ultrasound video of him
just the
yawning.
idea, and I was thinking that while you were talking about that, like that is a human child inside of a person. Like
Like
if you
living and
think about it too
breathing
much, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
moving. Like it, and it's so crazy
that
too.
has a life now, just
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny because like she's super like she's pregnant. Like her belly's tight, and like um, so like their placenta, which is like attached to the baby, hers is posterior, meaning it's behind her, like it's not against her stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like towards her back. So when he moves and like pushes on her, like you can literally see like the shape of his fist, like come out of like it looks like a scene out of Alien. It's creepy, and it's just like I look at her and like I said something to her like last night, like watching him move, and I was like, I feel like that if I was in your position and I had to carry the baby, like it'd make me feel so sick. Like just there's something in there just punching and kicking and moving and
Mm-hmm.
like it has to be
And
the
I mean,
weirdest.
she's also been there before, so I feel like she's got that experience of like, since it's not her first pregnancy. I mean, I'm not saying she's not as freaked out, but like, she probably is like chill. Like, I know how to do this.
She is.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
very like she's very chill about it, which I'm thankful for because I'm telling you what, like
She might feel different if it was her first child, but
yeah,
it's like,
it's
what
just
is
like
this thing?
the thought of it, and
Yeah, it
like
is really weird.
and there's times like and like we've been talking about it a lot recently. And I mean I'll open up about it on here. Like when Trav and I first started this podcast, like Tristan and I were like relationship wise we were good. Like I don't want what I'm gonna say to come off like her and I were in a bad spot, like relationship wise we never were. But I mean like we were struggling to live, man, like paycheck to paycheck. I after Nike like couldn't keep a job. Like I was relying on Twitch. She was working two different overnight jobs basically. Like she was at Walmart and she left and she did government work. And it's like now like when I think back on it, like if it would have happened back then, there's no way. You know what I mean? Like it would have been the hardest thing ever. But I can definitely say now, like financially, we're definitely a lot more stable than we ever have been, which is great. It's just crazy to think about, man. Like literally from the time that we started this podcast to like where we're at now, it's like a night and day difference. But I just never talked about it on the podcast because it was like it's like embarrassing, man. Like
Well, yeah.
it's shitty, like when there's been times where like we couldn't buy our dogs food because we had to eat. You know what I mean? Or there was times where like I didn't eat because like my kids needed to eat. And it's just like now I'm in like this big house. Like I have my own living room with two living rooms. It sounds like I live in a mansion. I don't. It's just a really old house. It's big though. It's a big house.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy. And like I feel like I'm more excited to have a baby now because of that fact. Like I feel like if we were still in that same situation, it definitely would have been a completely different. There would have been more anxiety, I think, about it. Because like you don't want to fail. Like that's your kid.
Well,
You
and
know
you
what I
found
mean?
something else that you thrive in, and
Yeah, yeah.
so
I am very fortunate to have the job I do. I mean, by no means do I make like an absolute ton of money, but like I definitely make more money now than I did in any other job.
yeah.
I get paid hourly, plus I get commission checks. Like I get a bonus check every single month, and I mean, I've had 15, 16, $1,700 bonus checks. Like which is awesome, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I'm excited, man, and it's just like, and another thing too, in how the internet has like kind of changed. And you said it. Congratulations on your first Twitch payout, by the way. You're close to your second. You said, um,
Yes. It
it's
was a
not a
good
lot.
feeling. I didn't know,
Yeah,
I didn't know, like, this is just disclaimer, like I didn't know they had brought it down to $50, and I had a
it used to
random
be
50.
100.
I had a random $50 in my bank account, and I mean, obviously earning money and you see that green number, it's dopamine. Like you immediately,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's a good feeling to see your number go up.
Yeah,
And I was like, and I just texted Dustin immediately. I was like, why did this happen? And like, oh, it's $50. Like, oh, that's technically my first check. And yeah, I mean, it's a good feeling, and I mean, that's, not to derail, but something like that, obviously Twitch is whatever, very
yeah.
minimum, but I do want to be a creator or a store owner, or like not store owner, but like business online or something, like, for a living. Like that's what I want to do, is to create for a living,
And
you
that's what my
know,
wife does.
and
And
so
that's where I was like kind of segueing into that whole thing with like the internet and doing things on the internet. And how you said like passive income now is so much easier to obtain. And so for those of you who don't know, my wife sells jewelry, but she sells jewelry on TikTok. Ashley actually has one of the pieces of jewelry. She got a necklace. But my wife sells jewelry on TikTok, and like when she's a massive following. She has almost 18,000 followers.
And shout out
My
to
wife does
her.
this full time.
Shout out to her for doing that pregnant, by the way.
Yeah, she still goes. She still goes.
Dustin, I think one time sent me a snap of just like a kind of a behind the scenes shot of like Trista with her setup and everything, and she's pregnant. I'm just like, dang man, like she's killing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and she announced she was pregnant, even through the first one, through the miscarriage. And this time, we really hesitated to kind of tell people because of the, you know what I mean, like the whole miscarriage thing, because we were unsure. But I firmly believe, off topic, real quick, that like the first one didn't work out because we were in a different point in life and things were going really like kind of sideways then, and it was just God's way of like, you're not ready, like you just, it's not time. But like whenever we found out like, okay, this baby's developing, and we went to Las Vegas in February, she was pregnant, crazy. And I hear kitties, and,
shut up.
And, she come back and people were like, hey, do you have a baby registry? And she was like, no, they're like, no, you should make it like a registry for the baby. And we talked about it. And I was like, like what would it hurt to try? You know what I mean? Like if they're willing, and it started off as just like little things. Needless to say, the internet furnished an entire nursery. I honestly think like everything that Tristan and I have bought with our own money for the baby, we spent maybe $250. Everything else was bought from people that she sells jewelry to. My dad and my stepmom, that was a big thing. I had a car when I lost my job at Nike. They took my car and I didn't have it, and I was very, very upset about it. Tristan and I actually got that car back, and we paid it off. We have the car back. We've had it back for a long time now, since March. My stepmom and my dad are really super involved in Grayson's life, and that makes me happy. Like my stepmom bought us a crib and like all kinds of stuff. I mean, literally between them and like, I mean, just family in general, but the people on the internet, I mean, like our baby is ready to go. Like, I mean, we have the pack and play, we have the swing, the bouncer, there's a high chair coming, like, I just everything. And it's just, it's crazy to think about. I mean, it's nuts. Man.
It's surely like, whenever you sit back and realize those things, it's just that, it sounds cliche to say, but count your blessings. It's kind of what it is. It's like y'all are over the moon blessed. And, and I mean, like, honestly, and Trista is a, inspiration in the way of like,
her past, man.
But also just like she's living proof that like, yes, you can literally become a creator and make a living.
Yeah.
Like she's literally doing it. Like she's actually doing that. And, a lot of people, and I know it's a generation thing. Older people right now look at YouTubers or Twitch streamers or whatever, or TikTokers, and it's like, nah, like you can't, like whatever. But then the proof is in the checks. Like, I mean, it's like and I know I've heard of people. I don't know people, but I've heard of people with like Shopify stores that are making millions and like just stuff like that, where it's like, bro, like that is the dream, like, and it just like, but yeah, she's just proof in a way that's like how I was saying earlier. You don't have to like be bogged down by some toxic location. Like, if you're thriving your job and you're happy and it's retail or whatever, of course, do it. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do, but like, don't settle for unhappiness.
Right. And I think a lot of it like has to do with like believing in yourself, and like you can't be afraid to fail too. Exactly. And I feel like that's a big thing. And how Trista even got started in all this, I was streaming on Twitch at the time, and the awesome hipster, one of my viewers, someone who watches Trav pretty regularly on Twitch as well.
Regularly.
Regular. That's such a weird word. I
It
hate
is
that word.
I hate
Regularly.
saying it too. I hate saying it too.
I hate
I hate
saying
it.
rural also, like a rural area. Hate it.
Rural.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. Yeah. Anyways, hipster, like one night I was live on Twitch, and it was funny because like Trista had told me like how she found the business from somebody on TikTok. And she was like, I would love to do it, you know? And I was like, well, how much is it? And she looked it up, and like the middle of like the road starting thing was like $366 to get started. And at the time we're like, holy shit, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and hipster
but it's
of
a
all
leap
people,
of faith, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And like hipster of all people, like came in one night and donated $500 to me. Like straight, just not overtime, like one $500 donation. And I was like, I'm refunding you. And hipster's like, no. And I was like, did you mean to like put like like 3 zeros there, or did you only mean to put 2? You know? And she was like, no, I meant it. Like, I'm serious here. Like, take it. And I remember I told Trista about it. She was working overnights, and I sent her the money through like Cash App or something. And I was like, or PayPal. And I was like, start the business. And she's like, what? And I was like, start the business. And she did, and within like 3 months, I mean, she's full time. She's been full time with it. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. And it's just funny too. Like it makes me laugh, and I'm okay talking about this because she's very open and upfront about it. Like I had a great month this month at work in terms of like sales, in terms of like what my bonus is going to be. You know, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm going to have like a $1,400 bonus check. Like I'm so excited. And Trista's like, yeah, I was just live for 4.5 hours. I made $1,600. And I was just like,
yeah.
Like next time, man, just
not in the same way, but people may or may not know it's whatever. But my wife's a nurse, so
yeah.
That's the same feeling I get from that, where she's just like, oh, look at that. I made, I don't know. She makes a ridiculous amount of money within an hour. Ridiculous amount of money. So,
it's crazy.
But rightfully so, she's saving lives. Like, that's
right.
Just, I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know how she does it. Like, I'm like, this is a whole world that I wouldn't, this isn't even a world that's like, yeah, I might try and fail. Like, you can't try and fail saving lives. If you fail, they die. Like,
she does trauma stuff, doesn't she? She's a trauma nurse.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
I mean, she has so many stories, bro. Like, she's got people that come in that have been shot. Like, it's like stuff like that, bro, where I'm like,
it's
what?
Funny.
Like,
I was watching The Good Doctor. Great show. It's on Hulu, by the way.
Ashley watches that. She watches all the doctor shows.
Fantastic. And like, there was an episode of like trauma stuff, and Trista and I were watching it, and I was like, that's what Trav's wife does. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, that's exactly what Ashley does.
Isn't that the one? Is that the one with the dude with autism? Is like the lead?
Yeah. It's fantastic show. But yeah, like, dude, and just like watching that, like that scene in the show where they were handling like a big trauma incident, was like a big car accident. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dude, there's no way. Like, I had anxiety watching that, and then thinking of like your wife dealing with stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and
but
it's
she's
just like,
it's a team effort. She's not alone.
But I mean, like
coworkers, and they all get along. And I think actually she's very lucky. I think to have an environment. Oh, nurses are a certain breed, though. Let me tell you that, because a lot of her friends are just, I don't know how to explain them, but they're just certain kinds of people, and like she's not like the odd one out, I wouldn't say, because Ashley hits a switch. She can be very outgoing out of nowhere.
And we've talked about it too.
But she's had to do it though, because she works there, and so I've talked to her on the phone while she's working before. We rarely get to do that, but sometimes I've been able to call her, and because she's allowed to AirPod or whatever, and whatever. But I hear the way that they speak. And she just, I mean, she taps into that. Like, she has, like, immediately, it's so weird because she doesn't have, like, obviously compared to a lot of people in the States, B and Ashley probably seem kind of country for other people. But let me tell you, the way that they talk in there, it's like, oh, well, we gotta get him, blah blah blah. Like it's just like I don't know. And then she immediately is like, well, we're going in, boys, or something like that. I don't know. She just immediately like switches the accent. Like it's so weird. And so, and that's what happens. Like when you work around people, you almost start talking like them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's interesting. It's interesting, like what it takes, but it's also like I think a lot because a lot of people. Okay, let me just put it like this. Let me just talk about my wife for a second. I've had people say, your wife's kind of intimidating, man. Like, they're just being honest. She's like kind of intimidating because she gets quiet. Like, I'm like, how many times have I got to tell somebody? Like, and I've had to tell Ryan, too. Just being honest. Like, look.
It's just how she is.
Like, it's not, but it's not, but it is, but it's not. It's exactly how I am as well. Like, if I'm around somebody, let me just put me and Thomas working together at first in perspective. We weren't friends yet, so we didn't know each other, but we were first forced to work together and like, hey, like this and this needs done, whatever. Like, just a back and forth team effort. But then we started talking about real life, and then started realizing how many interests that we have, like, in parallel, and he played video games, and, like, he's what got me back into Fallout 76, because he played it so hardcore and still does. But, you know, we were quiet around each other at first, because we're kind of, he's more outgoing, he's more extroverted, but, like, he's also isn't gonna just, you know, just start talking to somebody, like, just whatever. And
you have to find common ground with people.
I mean, Walmart definitely taught me a lot of things. Like, I feel like I could walk up to any of my employees, ex-employees, whatever, and just start talking to them. Like, there's no more like shyness or anything because I've been around them so long. And like, I got to the point where I'm talking to people in the distance, like, hey, blah blah blah, you know, and just like, I don't know, like, nothing given at all. Like, I don't care. And like, but I forgot what I was saying about Ashley. I forgot
how she can be kind of quiet and people take it as intimidation.
Well, yeah, people like kind of get intimidated by it. And I'm just like, look, like, the faster that you try to get to know her, the more she's going to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way that she is.
We've talked about it because for those of you who don't know, Trav and I do plan on like meeting up at some point in time,
One
probably
day, yeah.
within the next couple years. And like I've talked about it, and it's like Trista can kind of be the same way. Like Trista and Ashley kind of have a lot of similarities in a way, and Trista will admit it too. Like, she has a nasty RBF. Like, it's bad, and like I've even had people like say to me like dude, your wife looks mean, and I'm like, if you the second you walk up and start a conversation with her, it's the total opposite. Like, if anybody's mean or is an asshole, it's me. Like, I'll be the first to
because people, and this is the problem with the world today, and I could probably go on for a friggin' 3-hour podcast about this. People like I went in the Great Clips the other day. And the lady was very talkative to me, and that's fine. You open up about that, and it's fine, as Dustin unboxes his Dawn of the Dead. It's like, I love this. It's like something completely unrelated, and he's just like, Dawn of the Dead.
It's so nice. This is from 1958.
That's funny. But I walked in, and this is just an example of how you can get the wrong impression on somebody. And it happens all the time. Obviously, I feel like it's right for us to go off of instincts. You get a vibe off of people, right? Sometimes we get a vibe. You can't help it. Or someone's too talkative and too party-like or whatever. It just comes off like, okay, like relax. But I went in, and I wasn't even in a bad mood. I was not, I could remember very specifically, I was not in a bad mood. And I get to the chair, and we get to talk, and she's cutting my hair, everything, and, you know, like, and she's like, yeah, I didn't, like, she said something in passing, like, you just, She was very honest. She was like, "You just seemed kind of mean walking in here." I was like, "What?" Like, I was like, oh, just a lot on my mind, I guess. Like, I don't have like I cannot just turn on a fake, hey, like whatever,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm not saying that I was in a bad mood, but I was just in a very like just default face. Like my face was just straight, and it just, I don't know what to tell you, but don't just assume that I was mad about something. I don't know, and I wonder about that sometimes because like I'll go through like, and I haven't bought this in a while because of jobless, but like Seven Brew, I still miss it. I miss it so much. That coffee is amazing. Um, Go through and you're like so talkative with the person in front of me, and then I get there and they don't talk anymore. So I get this vibe sometimes, like, am I coming off like I'm just like mad at the world or something? Like, but I can't help it. It's nothing I can help. I was given the face that I was given, like from
Yeah.
the Lord. Like, I can't help it. Like, I could work on, walking into a place smiling, but like it takes so much energy out of me. So much energy out of me to like, and sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to like, you know, like you're in an interview or something. You have to like, I don't know, whatever. But long story short, what I was trying to get to is that's just an example of how people can mistake like people's vibes. Like just because Ashley's quiet doesn't mean like, oh, she's like, it's really mean. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, I don't like, and I know I'm defending her because I know her this well.
Yeah.
But and I was able to talk to her through the internet first, so I didn't have like an impression of like having to like the old days walk up to a girl and ask her out, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if that would have happened or not. Um, but that's the beauty of where we live, what time we live in today. You can meet in different ways.
Yeah.
But like, she's actually, she has friends and nurses and stuff that are like very like way more extroverted, and I think that's helped her be more like, and I mean it's not even like that's what it took, because I remember the first night that she picked me up, one of the first few days we started talking and stuff, and this wasn't the first day, this was like the second or third or whatever, and she brought her sister with her and stuff to meet, and like she immediately, like, I got in the car and I remember her saying out loud like, so okay, so I'm with my sister, so you're gonna hear me talk differently. Like, she just immediately like was like, disclaimer, I'm way more like, just I'm way more outgoing and loud around, like, and that's just, it's about who you're around. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you get around people that are quiet and whatever, and you just kind of want to vibe, like, you know, but that's just, I don't know. It's just like how quick, and I've probably done it too to somebody, where I just assume someone's in a bad mood. And I feel like I always feel it too. I feel like Cassidy, one of my best friends, she's always called me like, you're, what word did she use? I guess she called me an empath, because I feel everything, That's why I always check in. That's why I always check in. That's one probably reason Thomas became friends with me, is because I would be like, hey man, you good?
Yeah.
I hear pitter patter.
Yep. It's the puppies and Trista. I just want to get her to say hi. I'm not going to put her on camera.
Hello, Trista.
Trav said hello, Trista. She waved.
Wave. Pop that boy out already.
Dude, he's coming. He's coming. It's funny. Like he's the first one to enter a room.
He's gonna be a xenomorph.
I know, it's so weird. But yeah, like I really feel like Ashley and Trista would definitely like they would hit it off, because Trista would definitely be the one to like start conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and then Ashley would be the one to be able to keep it going. That's one of Trista's biggest things. Like if you're capable of holding a conversation, then like she won't stop. She's a talker, and
I
there's
think,
times
yeah.
And there's times too. It's so funny. Like she'll just be like blah 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 blah. Like she'll tell me 14 different things in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's always like every time we're laying in bed and I'm dozing off, and like sometimes I feel so bad, but I'm like I'm so tired. Like I
It's
love
like,
you, but
babe,
I'm
like
so
I
tired.
really. Isn't that what they do? I feel like they do start talking as soon as you're trying to go to sleep. I feel like it
Mm-hmm.
always is like I was like,
Yeah,
why? Like,
it's
why
like
couldn't we?
oh
You
yeah,
sat there
like
scrolling on your phone for the past 2 hours. Why
yeah,
you? Why are you having
yeah.
this conversation with me now?
Yep, it's so funny. It's so funny. Like tonight, I guarantee, like when we're done, and I'll go lay in bed. I guarantee. Oh yeah, so and so said this today, and this happened today, and then
Yeah,
this
because
happened
she
today, and
just
this happened
lost an
today.
hour with you, so she's gonna fill you in.
She lost like 2.5 hours with me because I.
True.
So I got the Evil Dead Rise. By the
Oh, that's
way,
what you were watching?
yes. Listen, I'm a horror movie. Like I love horror movies. Love them. The Evil Dead movie franchise is one of my favorites. Michael Myers, like if I had to rank like what my top three like horror franchises would be, it'd be Halloween first. And Halloween Ends is a good movie. Fuck you if you think otherwise. You're uncultured. I'm just kidding. No, everybody has opinions, but I really enjoy even the new trilogy. But I love the old ones. I have every single one of them on 4K. Every single one of them. Um, and then I would probably put it like I'd probably put the Evil Dead. Then I would go Friday the 13th
Mm-hmm.
if I had to kind of put them in a top three. And I love that. I mean, I love them all. It's hard to kind of rank things like that for me, but I love the Evil Dead. I have the first two on 4K plus the entire television series on Blu-ray, and then I have the 2013 remake on 4K. And then when I heard about Evil Dead Rise, and I remember seeing like that 30-second teaser trailer, I was like, yes.
Dude, the
And
trailer, I've seen that trailer at the movies so many times. I'm like, bro,
mm-hmm,
this movie looks just like so weird.
it
Like,
it
or just
is
just generally scary, like a lot of very, very horrifying
right.
imagery. That's what
Yeah,
got me
and,
about it.
and that's what I'm getting at. Now, it's really hard for me to get scared. There's one horror movie that generally, like from start to finish, terrified me, and it's called The Dark and the Wicked. And I actually have a signed copy from the actor that was in that movie, which was really cool. Like we follow each other on Twitter. He was like DM me, like we've literally held like conversation about him in that movie, which was awesome. His name is Michael Abbott Jr. He was also in, I think, Fear the Walking Dead. He was in a few episodes of that.
Maybe.
He's not
I've
like
never
super
seen
well
either one,
known.
so I don't know.
He's not super well known, to be completely honest with you. But nonetheless, he was in a movie that I thoroughly enjoyed, and he was kind enough to send me a signed DVD copy of the movie, for nothing. Like it was a really cool thing. It was a really cool thing. But
Yeah,
when
that
when
is
I
nice.
saw when I saw the Evil Dead Rise trailers, I was like, that is going to be the scariest movie of 2023. And it was, dude, it was good. It was so good. And a lot of people were hating on it. A lot of people were like, oh, it died off at the end. I found that movie to be extraordinary from start to finish. I loved it. It just released today. My copy came in from Amazon today. I was so excited. I'm going to tell you right now, and this isn't spoiling anything, but there's a scene where a girl is crawling away on the floor to get away from one of the deadites, is what they're called. And I don't in well, they don't really say that in the 2013 remake or in Evil Dead Rise, but like if you watch the other Evil Dead movies, they're known as deadites, and they're like these demons. And this demon grabs a cheese grater, slams it down on this girl's calf, and just shreds. And the physical pain. There's a part where a girl is eating glass and she's swallowing it, and you see the glass like cutting her throat from the
Ugh.
inside. Yeah, it's great. It's on my Vudu. Trav's gonna watch it.
I am not.
But
No, I
it
am not.
was good. It was really good. But I watched it, and where I'm getting with that whole thing is like because my wife is so close to delivering. Like I watched the trailer because it's on Max, which is no longer HBO Max. We should talk about that
Yeah.
in an episode. It's no longer HBO Max. It's just called Max now. And I showed her the trailer, and she was like, "Yeah, there's no fucking way." She was like, "If I watch that movie with you, I'd go into labor." Like she does not do well with horror at all. To get her to sit and watch a horror movie is really hard to do, but she'll do it. But like when she told me that, I was like, yeah, I don't even want you to fucking like attack. Anytime she walked in my living room when I was watching it, I paused it because I was like,
Just like, yeah, she just looks
I'm
at the
not,
screen and that's
yeah,
it. I'm going into labor.
yeah, I'm not doing that. But man, I'll tell you what, June was a good month for movie releases. I definitely got the three big ones I wanted, and I got them on 4K. The Mario movie, fantastic,
Yeah, it's so good.
fantastic.
It's so good. I've been
They
meaning to
let
rewatch that. I know it is on your Voodoo, and I'd
it is
considered
in
throwing it on.
4K. It is on 4K. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
Yeah. I mean, the casting is off the charts. Like, everybody off the charts.
When he did the two times he did his laugh, I lost my shit.
Yeah, it's good.
It's great.
But man,
It's
Charlie Day's Luigi is probably number one as for
Oh yeah.
casting. That
Yep.
is too perfect. It's too perfect. Because I mean, you could have got like anyone, quote unquote, for Mario if you're gonna do like the whole Chris Pratt thing, where it's like, you know, I was surprised to find out it was Chris Pratt, but I was like, oh well, like he blended in. He did a great enough job. I didn't have any issue with it at all. Because the idea, this is really a huge spoiler, maybe a minor one for people, but basically like the whole like it's self-aware, like so he's Mario in this movie is they have a character like named Mario and Luigi, like the Mario Brothers or whatever, like for their own little commercial for plumbing and all that stuff. So he does the voice there. Like, so they made it make sense where he doesn't actually do like let's go like or whatever like the whole movie. Like he just talks normal. So I appreciated that. And it's cool. And obviously Jack Black as Bowser is just like just bowing down because it's incredible.
It is. And for those of you that are like kind of on the fence about watching it or you're unsure, it's not really like it doesn't start off like you think. It's kind of like an origin story.
Yeah.
Essentially. And it's done so well. And for the people that hated that movie, you're an idiot. Clearly, like the critics despised it.
Yeah.
But the audience,
I mean, it mostly had good ratings and good like a lot of love toward it.
It was.
I feel like it's definitely a good stepping stone movie. Like I don't like absolutely love it from start to finish, but I have this like I'm aware that like they're gonna make a really good sequel. Like because you use this and like just do a trilogy and like even while watching it, I was excited about the next one. I'm like, dude, this is gonna be a great trilogy.
Mm-hmm. You want to know what pisses me off about that movie? And hold on, let me grab it.
A ton of money, by the way.
Let me grab it. I'm going to grab the three movies that I was most excited about, but okay. I specifically want to talk about the Mario thing.
Yeah, it's definitely better than the first Mario movie ever made. Nah, but that one's still a classic, though. Yeah, it's still a classic. Yeah, everyone's going all crazy for Peaches, that song or whatever, Bowser, and so.
Yeah. So you see this? It is phenomenal artwork, right? Clearly, like I mean, it is bright, colorful. The whole movie,
and it's like Mario. That, right? You know, it has a complete vibe of it. Of the games.
And so seeing this and kind of this imagery at first when it was leaked, I was like, dude, they're gonna make a super fucking cool steelbook. It's going to be such a cool steelbook. They could do so much with it. You want to know what the steelbook was?
What?
It was black, and then it just has Toad's head on the front.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I was like, you like seriously? Like you couldn't nothing like that? You know?
You know what they should have done with the steels? Like made like a few different versions where it's like you get like a Bowser one. Or you get like a Mario one or a Luigi one or something.
Walmart had an exclusive where it came in like the Starr, like a Starr tin. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I didn't, you know, like it just wasn't for me. I
mean, the 4K, I mean, it's already great.
Yeah, and then here it is.
Yeah, that freaking, I have no idea what the story is with the creepy lady, but that's
just look at the back.
Yeah. The trailer was like, nope. Like, even Tyrone Magnus, man, a big movie reviewer, he does a lot of reactions and stuff. Even he said, yep, not demon stuff for me, or something like that. Like, just, he does not do demon stuff. And I don't really either. Like, whatever. Like if people, I don't know, if horror's got to be like a creature feature thing for me, or more of a like thriller type horror where it's suspenseful and maybe you
I
never see the thing that it is or something. I like those kind of movies.
I feel like you could do some classic slashers.
Probably. I
I
mean,
feel
I've
like you
seen
could.
like, I'm not saying like I know there's some really messed up horror stuff out there, and this doesn't come
Mm,
close to it, but like, the Halloween movies are good. Like I like them because they're not really focused on the horror. They're actually just good films. Like
yeah.
that's the difference. They're centered around making a good movie. And
Yep.
so, Halloween 1 is good, and then like the of the new
2018.
series, yeah, 2018, that one out of the new ones is my absolute favorite because I was
2018. Yeah.
I was genuinely like, this is a really good movie.
Yeah.
Um just ignoring it, just ignored the sequels and was like, Halloween 1 happened, this is like the new one, but it's like Halloween and Halloween whatever.
You have to watch really, I think, to get to fully understand the new trilogy, you have to watch Halloween 1. And a lot of people will watch Halloween 1, Halloween 2, they'll go to H2O, and then
And
2018.
they still think it happened, and I'm like, no, like literally look it up on the internet. What is canon to this new world, the new
Hmm.
timeline is 1, and then it goes straight to Halloween 2018. So
Yeah. But I feel like to really, at least in my perspective, and how because I'm probably one of the few people that can honestly say Halloween Ends is a good movie. Um, and the same thing about Halloween Kills. A lot of people felt poorly towards that movie, and the first time I watched it, I admit I didn't like it. Second time, third time, I've watched the trilogy probably 4 times. The new one, I love the movies. Um, but Halloween 1 and Halloween 2018, or H40 if you want to call it that, whatever, are very similar. They really kind of like coincide together. And then if you watch Halloween 2, a lot of it takes place at Haddonfield Hospital. If you watch Halloween Kills, a lot of it takes place in Haddonfield Hospital. And then there's Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which has nothing to do with Michael Myers. Michael Myers literally isn't even in the movie. It's a completely separate
mm-hmm.
story arc. And a lot of people argue that Halloween 3 is one of the best Halloween movies ever made. I love Halloween 3. I wouldn't put it as my top, but I appreciate the movie enough and I really enjoy it. And then when they did Halloween Ends, it was very kind of similar where they kind of put it off in a different story arc and people just hated that. But you can't call yourself a Halloween fan and then hate that movie because the internet tells you. I fucking hate that, man. There's nothing wrong with that movie. It is a perfectly fine movie. And I mean, whatever. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I'm not going to try to force your opinion on it, but I don't know. I just feel like people just don't take like that step back and look at it from a different perspective. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, Michael's barely in it. Oh, that showdown at the end. Yeah, that showdown at the end was like, it wasn't drawn out. But what more could you do? Michael and Laurie fought each other the entire fucking franchise. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And if you would have had a big final like scene with them and they would have fought the entirety of Halloween Ends, it would have just been Halloween 2018 all over again with a different ending.
Yeah.
That's it. But
Yeah.
nobody sees it like that. And
Right.
it irritates me. I'm done ranting about it.
No, I mean, I get it. Like it's whatever. People are going to have their opinions, and the only thing that matters is that what you took from it. And your enjoyment. Yeah, it's
And,
like it
and
sucks sometimes to just go read the internet and like whatever, but
yeah, and
um
Tristan and I rewatched Halloween Ends not too probably just like a month or two ago, and she was like, yeah, like it's not a bad movie. You know what I mean? Like it's really not. Like I mean, I personally really enjoyed. I don't know if you watched it.
yeah, we saw ends, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I like the ending a lot.
yeah. And I quite enjoyed Corey's character. And to be completely honest with you, I wouldn't have been upset if Corey wouldn't have died. Spoiler alert, whatever. If you don't want to watch it, doesn't matter. But like if he would have kind of continued to live on, you know what I mean? Like Michael would have never truly died. Like Corey would have, like I wouldn't have been upset.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like this, the same people that talk about the ending of John Wick 4. Oh, I'm mad that it didn't continue. This ended perfectly. There's no
Yeah.
need to continue any of this.
Yeah.
No
And so
need.
I'm kind of wondering about the spin-offs. I'm like, well, I guess we'll see,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't
This
think they
movie is
should. I
fantastic, and
don't
this
think
was a
they should
great way
do a
to end
John
it.
Wick 5 that's like
No.
continuing Keanu Reeves. Like just
No, and
because
it's
you
only
gotta end, instead of
it.
just like money making franchises. I mean, look at Halloween. They did it. They did that, making money franchises.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
obviously the reason they brought it back, but
And I feel like with the John Wick movies is you can only go so far, because I feel like anything after 4 would have just started to get repetitive. You know what I
it
mean?
started to become Fast and Furious. Like,
Exactly. Like
where it's like,
John
yeah,
Wick
in
would have been
space
fucking
now.
fighting aliens on, yeah, on the moon. And it's just, I just,
Yeah, the reason
yeah.
why we like John Wick is because it's grounded.
Hmm.
The fights and stuff seem as real as they could possibly be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
shot, and the reason why that franchise is so good is because the action's shot so well.
Hmm.
And because it's like you give a crap about him
Yeah.
surviving all of this.
Yeah.
But well, this is bringing this back. But what are your recommendations? Or
Ooh,
recommendation?
my recommendation. Don't be afraid to fail. Kind of playing off what you said earlier. You you are the pilot in your life, man, and you can, just do what makes you happy.
Yeah, and you can, and this is
It's
mine
it's
pretty
oh it's
much.
okay to fail. It is literally okay to fail.
Like
You learn from it. You grow
my
from it.
my rec on that definitely would be that thing that you want to do. You're stuck in a job that makes you unhappy. Maybe you need to pay bills or something for your kids or whatever, but they'll figure out to find a way to be happy and chase your dreams, because once you've achieved even part of it and you look back at where you were, like I'm just saying, like you look back at where you were and you're like, man, I don't know how and why I did that to myself. Like that tells you that your mental health is not in a good place when I just call it the zombie lifestyle. That's what, like, when you're just waking up every day, going to work, and like that's it. Like there's ways to be happy, and money doesn't buy happiness. Some people do have like regular jobs, and they just like, and they want to just like whatever your version of making you happy is. If that job makes you happy, do the job, but just don't be afraid to pivot and try something different. And that thing that's different, the only way to learn off of it is to fail at it and build off of that. Take what you learn from this stack of things you failed at. Don't put yourself down about it. Keep moving forward with it. You know how many times like me and Dustin have pivoted in life? Like billions of times. Like I still feel like I'm always transitioning into like, well, let me try. People that know me know that like I'm trying this, and like whatever sticks. That's what my goal is to find something that truly fulfills me, because I want to wake up and get excited about what I'm going to do for that day.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's too much to ask, because look guys, like we're all it gets dark, but we're all going to die one day. And so it's just like you got to live, man. You have to live while you can. I still feel like people are just stuck in this, rather whatever it is, I feel like people out there with drug abuse and like all of this stuff that just, they think stuff's making them happy when it's not. You're literally destroying your life.
Yeah.
And like, whatever it takes to dig out of that hole and then figure it out from there. Just go for what makes you happy, even if it means you gotta be broke for a little bit or something. I don't know, man. Like it just you gotta chase it.
Yeah, and
I'm still in the process. This is not to say like I've got it figured out. I've got my successful business or whatever, but I'm still in the process of this. I'm just telling you what I have learned from life is like this just regular zombie lifestyle does not make me happy, so I am going for it. And so, you know,
Hey, and if all else fails, marry a trauma nurse.
yeah, that is true. But no, it just, I just want people to know that they're not alone, and that they, whatever that thing is that you want to do, that you feel like, I can't do that. Like, yes, you can. Like, it's going to be hard. No one ever told you, like, life isn't going to be difficult at every turn. Like, life will just, we all know it hits you with curveballs. But I feel like people get stuck there, where they get hit with the curveball, and they're like, yeah, like, trying to do my dream isn't for me because I keep failing. Well, you're gonna fail. Like, that's how your life is built, off of failures. And rather, that's anything, being a dad, like, just, or a good husband or wife or whatever.
Yeah.
But that whole recommendation in itself could be a whole episode, because I just have so much to say about it. But I guess we're gonna try to let you guys go.
Absolutely. One more thing before we go, though. Say no to drugs and yes to pussy.
Wow. And so if you're a man out there and you're whatever, settle down with somebody. Don't quit chasing the women.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation 2.0. Like, just freaking, like, it's way better to find somebody and settle down than, like, just like, let me go, and, like, you think you're making yourself happy, but it's not. It's a very limited dopamine rush. So.
Yep.
But with that, guys, we'll holler at you next time. I don't know when we're uploading again, but we'll figure it out.
We will, hopefully sometime before my child's born. That's True. For sure. Yeah.
And definitely after. There'll be a lot of fatherhood discussions, I feel like.
I know. I'm just gonna hold the baby here. This is my baby.
I almost thought about bringing Sherlock in here because he kept screaming at the door. But
awesome.
Anyway, guys, we love you, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yep. See ya.